The topics and opinions expressed on the following show are solely those of the hosts and their guests and not those of W4WN Radio, its employees, or affiliates. We make no recommendations or endorsements for radio show programs, services, or products mentioned on air or on our web. No liability, explicit or implied, shall be extended to W4WN Radio, its employees, or affiliates. Any questions or comments should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for choosing W4WN Radio.
Let's listen as Lorraine LaPointe, coach, therapist, educator, speaker, and founder of Head Heart Synergy, brings together another enlightened guest to inspire and motivate us to move forward, achieve our dreams and desires, so that we experience midlife awakening.
And I'm your host, Lorraine LaPointe. Today we'll enjoy another candid conversation that reveals how to bring back a sense of balance and how to find forward focus. Today, take just a few moments to join us as we explore the possibilities and the perspectives that provide us with greater inner peace, power, passion, and purpose. Because that's what I call living at the edge of fulfillment in a midlife awakening. Well, hello and welcome to all of our friends and viewers around the world. Today we have a special show, and you get to have me, and I'm excited because, like Dorothy and the Wizard of Oz, we seem to be on a journey down our own yellow brick road, and it seems our entire planet, much of the life that's found on it right now, is experiencing a kind of metamorphosis, a transmutation. Some call it an energy shift. And, this has been predicted for thousands of years by many different seers and sages, and even in the scientific community by the study of quantum physics. And although the world seems to be falling apart on many fronts, there is movement from darkness to light, from worry to elation, and from loss to the promise of greater fulfillment. As with all transformation, it must get messier before it gets better. And like when we clean out the garage or, our closet in the springtime, we get to see all the buried stuff that we've forgotten about. And we get to experience emotions maybe that we've worked really hard to ignore. When times get messy, it's an invitation to clean up. A time to embrace all that buried stuff we've maybe even inherited from previous generations, because the mess in the world is a reflection of what is inside of us. And many are sensing the invitation to wake up. We're physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually receiving an invitation to an opportunity to reset what we think, what we believe, and what we perceive. Much of what we thought to be true lately is being revealed as lies. For years, it seems that we've been consistently, purposefully deceived. Institutions that we thought were taking care of us, like our government, media, big businesses like pharma, have revealed that their intentions are not always true, and that they have darker underbellies. The lies that have been buried for years are being brought to the surface to be examined. And many are considering their own beliefs about how they should live, what they should tolerate, who they want to be connected with, because so much has been darkly designed to keep us fearful, misdirected, or, as some call it, blissfully distracted and asleep. And many of my clients, friends, and family have been greatly disturbed over the past few years as we strip away the illusion of safety, freedom, and certainty within ourselves, our relationships, our churches, our faiths, our beliefs, our government, our society. Sometimes we condemn the bully and then find out that we are the ones doing the bullying. We've been invited over and over again to get on the train of change or be left at the station. And so let's pull an oracle card and receive the message for this show, because this show is very different from our usual. So I'm just going to shuffle, and when the spirit moves me, I will grab a card. And I hope that this has message for you today as well. Oh, there's one. So, that's a good card, I think. Let's find out. It's called the Grand Symphony. A Grand Symphony. So let's have a read. A grand symphony. As human beings, we have a tendency to see ourselves as separate from others. This is the root of a cosmic joke played on us all. Well, there's deception, right? And there's something different. Our five senses and our intellect help us manage our experiences within this world, and our intuition helps us navigate the invisible. We still struggle often with the issue of identity and how we as part fit into the whole. So there's a paradox today. The paradox is focusing on being your unique self, but equally learning to be selfless and putting the we before the me. So you're being invited to step back and see a bigger picture, who you are and what you do and how it counts. When you listen to music, it's the whole and not any single note on its own that makes a song come alive. Wow. To me, that means that to wake up is a gift. I have an opportunity to review and examine my thoughts, beliefs, dreams, and desires. I can choose to heal the past and embrace a new vision of my future. I can strip away the illusion. What I'm noticing is that it's not something to be feared. It's like when you were a child and you learned the truth about Santa. Once you understand, you can't put the genie back in the bottle. The truth can be a little bit painful because we have to suddenly grow up, decide to no longer be so easily deceived. Now, some of my audience and some of you won't have a clue or understand what I'm talking about, and that's okay. And some of you will start to feel frustrated and annoyed and not really know why. And some will nod their heads in agreement. So if this seems confusing or annoying, that's okay. You have choice. Find something soothing to distract yourself so that you're not challenged to think. Or you can stay and explore, because today is about asking and answering questions. As you listen, notice your inner responses, especially any that might make you squirm, Because one thing is certain, clarity, being in control, comes with a price. It requires moving the heavy, uncomfortable stuff that's been holding us down and blocking our way. And since we were really small, the world has used fear to control and manipulate. But now, as adults, we can choose to face our fears. And in today's show, we take a peek behind the curtain. So instead of interviewing a guest, I'm courageously going to answer your questions as best I can. And I promise to reveal what I think, show you who I am, and trust that my vulnerability helps us create stronger connection. Because I believe, good morning, Sherry. I'm so glad you were able to get on. I believe that as more of us make the choice to mindfully move forward, the darkness in our world will lose its grip and will continue to fall away. Because we know darkness can't exist when it's brought into the light. And waking up and coming home to ourselves means that we can begin to experience peace, power, passion, and purpose. And I want to add another P, and that's prosperity, because that's what we crave. So let's get to the questions. I've received several. So whether you are here live with me right now, or you're catching this in replay, you're welcome to add your questions, and I promise to answer. Simply add your comments and questions so I can provide a day of fresh water wherever it's needed in the world through B1G1. And as the questions come in, our wonderful producer, Roxy, who's behind the scenes making all this happen, will help by putting them on the screen. I think there's one down there already. But stay tuned. Remember to send an invitation to encourage your friends and family to join us, and enjoy this episode as we take a peek behind the curtain here on Edge of Fulfillment on W4WN.com, talk4tv.com. We'll be right back after this short break.
Did you know video is the future on content? There are 3 good reasons why video is the future of content. Number 1, videos are often more engaging than simple pictures or music alone. Number 2, it's much easier to tell your story through video. Number 3, because we love to watch video, they go viral much faster. Hey, notice you're still watching right now. See how well it works. Next time we can play your video here instead. Ask me how. Shine online on Talk4TV and W4WN Radio.
Hey, are you looking for a brighter future? Wishing for greater calm, clarity, and confidence? What if you knew an inside job was the answer? Your mission: stop the inner burn, gain mental fitness so you get more out of life. Imagine in about 15 minutes a day for just 6 weeks. Come on, we'll show you how. Don't miss it. Just go to www.lorraine.gives/M-Fitness and join us right now.
Hey, welcome back. This week, together, we're going to take a peek behind the curtain, and I'm going to share my insights to your thoughtful questions. So let's get into it, Roxy. I think I saw a question to begin with. What is your biggest accomplishment up till now? Oh, good morning, Angeline. So lovely to see you today. So my biggest accomplishment, the 30 years or so that I spent in education. Actually, I often boast that I spent 50 years in school, because I used to say I had my own little laboratory, my own little brain laboratory. It walked around about 4 feet off the ground. And, I started in school when I was very young. And it's only in the last couple of years that haven't been there. So, I loved being and working in schools, because I spent my time observing human behavior, and it helped me learn a lot about how we tick as people. Thankfully, this understanding comes really handy as I'm now a part-time stepmom for a teenage daughter with special needs. And, what I found in all those years is that as children, we must survive what happens to us without choice. However, as we grow into adulthood, we can choose whether we embrace, the things that we've inherited, or we can reconcile our past experiences. But we also get to fulfill our heart's desires. We can choose to shape the life that we have into something amazing. And so it was my honor to watch and to participate in all that happened over those 50 years in school. I think there's another question. So what's the best mistake you've ever made? I think the best mistake I ever made was believing my inner 3-year-old. I was a super cute little one, apparently. Oh, there's a picture. Thanks, Roxy. Yeah. But when I was young, I had some issues in the bathroom, and my mother fed me a plate of green vegetables. And when I went to the bathroom, it really hurt. So I made a rule at age 3 that I would eat only peas, carrots, corn, and potatoes. And I made the mistake of missing out on all those other wonderful veggies, for 53 years. And now, of course, I've done the work. I've helped my inner 3-year-old understand the value of veggies, and now I love them. So what I learned from that is it's truly amazing how much of what we do is automatic. And until we give ourselves a little space inside to question what we think and why we do what we do, like only eating peas, corn, carrots, and potatoes for 53 years, really, then otherwise our scared, angry, disappointed inner parts have that invisible influence on us until we question it. There's another question. So what are you most proud of? I'm proud to have overcome many, many obstacles and difficult and different experiences in my own life. I said I would be fully transparent. So let me tell you, I've navigated a bankruptcy, 2 divorces. I lost 3 parent figures, my own parents and my father-in-law, all within 9 months. And I've I've experienced lots of betrayals, both in business and in personal. And I believe that facing these kinds of challenging circumstances has made me stronger, wiser, and definitely more spiritually attuned. So I'm also proud of my ability to analyze complex situations. One of my gifts is being able to take a messy situation and intuitively understand what's needed to improve the circumstance. I can do that for others. I can easily see potential positives and the pitfalls in most situations. However, like most people, I reserve blind spots for my own life. Am I married or am I single? Well, I am currently unavailable. I met my partner, who I've been with for 7 years, through an online dating app, completely by fluke. At the time, I received an invitation from him online. He was a host of an event, which I shouldn't have received the invitation for. It was way out of my jurisdiction. It was way too far away for me to travel. And I noticed before I hit delete, I noticed he had this great paragraph in his profile, all about how he would not communicate outside of the app. And I had just experienced a rather, heartbreaking situation where I forget what it's, catfishing, I think it's called, where the person I had communicated with didn't actually exist. It was a romance scam. And I'm pleased to say I wasn't completely scammed, but it just showed me how easy it is to be deceived, And so I wanted to steal his paragraph about communicating on the app, only on the app. So I mentioned my intention to him, and he said that he took one look at my profile, and he tells me that he instantly fell in love. And that, they say, the rest is history. So, are there some other strange facts the audience wouldn't know by looking at me? Sure. Here's one. Strangely, my life has always included 2 cats. Right now, I have a rescue black cat named Rita. And Rita bears there she is. There's our Rita. She bears my mother's first name. and I didn't name her. So, how could I say no when she came into my life? And then I have a second cat called Moo, who looks like a Holstein. There's our Moo. He looks just like a cow. And no, I didn't name him either. Other facts. Well, you might not know I was born in Chelmsford, England, and I emigrated to Canada at age 6 3/4. And for some reason, the fraction has always stayed really important. Today I have a British accent only when I speak to someone from home or when I was in Australia, I just clicked right back into that British accent. Something else you might not know is I recently began to heal my own intergenerational trauma, and with an interesting introduction to it. And that's because I noticed that I often said, wow, I should get that done today because you never know if I might get hit by a bus. Well, that was kind of a weird thing to say, especially when it came out of my mouth like several times. And so it revealed a really curious story about my family. And I discovered actually that my grandfather was hit by a double-decker bus about 3 months before I was born. And that whole story affected who I am and where I am today, because I'm in Canada. And if that hadn't happened, I would still be in England. I would be a very different person. So I'll go into details at some point if you're curious about that at some other time. Oh, these questions are great. Thank you, Roxy. So who's the person I admire the most and why? I admire a lot of different people for different reasons. What I really admire are people who have the courage to really look deeply within themselves, the courage to ask questions and not be afraid of the answers. Like I was saying at the beginning of the show. One of the people who does that really effectively is Brené Brown. She has worked on researching something that is like a taboo almost, and that is shame, the feelings of shame. And by its very nature, exploring shame requires us to be vulnerable. In Brené's work, she has to constantly double check that she is staying authentic. Because if she doesn't stay authentic, then she risks being publicly called out and shamed herself, And she's helped thousands of people understand their own sense of shame. And why I really admire her is that her research makes other people uncomfortable. It reveals inner worries. And quite often when she's having conversations with people and interviews with people, it brings up those shame-causing experiences. And I really respect her courage for doing that. She's brought so much to the world. I can only imagine the kind of marketing team and marketing plan that is required in order to make someone like Brené Brown a household name, a name that people recognize and respect and admire. So that would definitely be something I admire the most. So what kind of business do I run? Well, before I answer that, I know we have a few listeners. And if you have a question, listeners or watchers, there's one. So how do you deal with relatives or friends who take advantage of you? And how does that make you feel? Oh, I would never have friends or relatives take advantage of me, she says, tongue in cheek. Well, when friends or relatives take advantage of us, it's the trigger is that need to please or appease. And that's one of our 10 saboteurs. So when we're growing up, we may have that good girl syndrome. We may have that, that desire to serve others. And the trigger of pleasing or appeasing is actually based in a need for our approval. We're seeking approval outside of us. We're seeking for the world to be okay outside of us. And so, and how do we deal with that? Well, we deal with that like we deal with other challenging issues. And that is by looking inside and seeing what's true for us. It's hard when we feel taken advantage of. It's hard when we feel that we've given and we haven't received in return, because it's about giving and receiving. Although when we're stuck in our saboteur of pleaser, we actually can't receive. So we give and we give and we give and we resent and we give some more, and then we resent some more, and then we get angry and frustrated. We don't like the fact that we get angry and frustrated. So we suck it inside and hold it in. And you'll notice that there's nowhere in there to receive. Because one of the gifts, and I know I'm on a tangent now, and I hope I'm answering your question, Sherry. One of the gifts that I'm learning about in my life is how to allow others to give me what I need, to give back to me. Because, so we talk about shift in perspective, right? One of the shifts in perspective that I have noticed in the last few years is that when we allow others to support us, we are giving them a gift, because they feel good supporting us, just like we can feel good about our support of friends and family. Where it crosses that line into resentment, I think, is when we give and they don't appreciate, or it's when we give because they demand rather than ask. And when they put us in a no-win situation, that's when I think that, it's hardest. And again, to answer your question, Sherry, and thank you so much for that question. This is a fabulous question to explore. It's about our response. It's about our choice about our response and setting boundaries and limits. I have people in my own life who like to take. And they think that it's okay to keep on taking. And I take responsibility for the fact that I've kept giving. And so in order to begin to turn that around, I need to set some boundaries. Set some boundaries that are fair to them, because you can't just turn it off like that. I wish you could. It's fair to them and also fair to you. So let me know if that was helpful at all, Sherry, because friends and family and that whole taking advantage thing can be very tricky, and it causes us a great deal of worry and angst unless we can be in the right frame of mind to, rather than judge, to discern, be factual, set boundaries, be okay in ourselves. And then we can give without resentment. Wow. Thank you for that question. I think that was as helpful for me as I hope it was for you. We have another question that came out. What kind of business do I run? Oh, thank you, Sherry. Yeah, I appreciate that. So what kind of business do I run? As a solopreneur, which means that I wear all the hats myself, I'm open to exploring new ways to support people. And really my mission is to show people different ways to move beyond the 10 saboteurs. I talked about pleasing as a saboteur. Well, there are 10 saboteurs that are in the back of our mind, and they're highly influential in our lives. They whisper things constantly to us, but they often derail our life and ruin our relationships. I talked about lies and deceit at the beginning of the show, and that's your saboteurs lie to you constantly. I've earned 3 university degrees. I have a master's certificate in hypnotherapy, and I'm trained as a coactive coach. And with all of that training and introspection and exploration, I recognize, that it's tough to overcome the voices in our minds telling us, you're not enough. You need to do more. Yes, John, exactly. Those nasty saboteurs. And as a friend of mine calls it, she says it's like an elixir of saboteurs. We each have our own special formula of which of the 10 are most influential at any point in your life. And once we've recognized their influence, then there are specific things, specific inner sizes, I call them, things that we can do to presence ourselves into the moment. Because really, worry is about the future, anxiety is about the future. And, the past is the past. We are influenced by the past, but neither one of them is in the moment, and it's in the moment that we have the most power and control and opportunity to change who we are, how we react. So what kind of business do I run? Well, basically, I run a business. I run this show, this Talk for TV on Women for Women Network Radio. I also am partnered with a human dynamics coach who's wonderful. Her name is Barbara Cates. You might have recalled that she's come on the episode a couple of times. And we are running something called an unnetworking event, where we encourage you to kick off your shoes and let your hair down and really connect with others. Can you put that one back up again, Rox? I didn't see it. It's a little late, but made it. All right, Christine or Chrissy. It's good to see you here. Yeah, and this show today is wonderful to have you. If you have any questions, I'm being really candid and answering any of your questions as honestly and openly as I possibly can today. And so I'm answering the question. I don't know if I've finished it, but what kind of business do I run? Oh, I was telling you about the networking event. Yeah. So much of our time when we're in business or we're working, we put on that mask, the business front or the working mask and we forget to show people who we really are. But one thing I do know for sure is that people don't want to do business with you, and people don't really care about what you do until they can see who you are. And that's one of the reasons that we're doing this Take a Peek Behind the Curtain show today, because it suddenly occurred to me that after, many, many episodes of Edge of Fulfillment, the person who didn't do a whole lot of talking on the show was me. So here I am revealing myself in ways that I hope are helpful to you. because I believe being mindfully present, showing up authentically means that we can have more fun. You don't want to be interested in that. And some may know that through Head Heart Synergy, I offer online courses, individual and group coaching. I offer training. I offer therapy. I do speaking. I run some masterclass. Like my most recent masterclass was Has the World Lost Its Mind? And I'd love, if you're interested, I'd love to run that one for you again, because it's a fascinating look at dark psychology and all the things that we can do to overcome some of those lies and deceit. So I love to share projects with joint venture partners. And one of them, of course, is Barb. And I encourage people to speak from the heart. So what motivated you to start your own business? Well, my Head Heart Synergy motto is feel good on purpose. Because I really believe that that's what we want to do. People want to feel good. We don't want to walk around feeling depressed, anxious, worried, angry, sad. All of those emotions are just the way of letting us know that we need to do something about it. Thank you so much, Christine. I really appreciate that. I think you're a rock star too. You do all the things that I'm not very good at, Christine. So, all right. Let's have a look. What question am I answering now? What motivated me to start my own business? Did I finish answering that? Well, let me tell you a little story. So when my parents were in palliative care, and they were both in palliative care together, so they were both diagnosed with terminal illnesses just a few weeks apart. I used to say, well, we've got 7 cancers between the two of you. It was a really dark time in our family history. At the time, I was an administrator of school, so I had a really taxing job. I still had a house and family to look after, and I was the caregiver or responsible one for my parents. And so I met with and was referred to a most amazing coach and therapist. And she helped me compartmentalize my life. So when I was at school, I focused on school, and I was there 100%. When I was with my parents, I focused on my parents and their needs. I was there 100%. And when I was at home, I focused on home and myself 100%. It was such a gift. And I remember thinking, I want to know how to do that for people. I want to know how I can help them navigate their really difficult circumstances in life. And now I do. So that's what motivated me to start my own business. Because I believe that as we become healthier and more transformed adults, the other piece of it, of course, is that we serve better role model for our kids. And through my career in education, my motivation has always been about empowering adults so that the children who are our future can grow and thrive. What kind of people do you work with? Oh, thanks for asking that question, whoever that was. I know we're all busy people. I've never met anybody really who doesn't have something going on in their life. And I don't want to ever waste my clients' time or my time, far too valuable. So I support those who want better relationships. I support those who want to lower their stress level in their life. I serve people who, when they're feeling anxious, angry, lonely, withdrawn or disconnected, what happens is their work in the world is impeded. They don't get to do what it is that brings them joy, and they don't fulfill their purpose of being here. And so by helping free them from all that stress, then they can increase their ability to be positive and to have a great impact in the world. And so I work with people who are ready to do that. And what challenges have I faced? And let's see, what challenges have you faced and what motivated you to solve them? Well, I've told you a few stories so far. You may be aware that, of course, that no life is all peaches and cream, including mine. I mentioned divorce twice. So let me tell you a little story about my second relationship. It was a long-term relationship, actually 18 years. And my partner then, my husband then, worked in casinos as a dealer. I used to say that, my husband's a dealer. People would go, ah! He was a casino dealer, a croupier, and had very difficult hours. I was 9 to 5. He was most definitely not 9 to 5. And after he had worked in that position for about 10 years, we saw each other about an hour and a half a day. Most weekends we did not spend together. One day I'd said, let's go and do something. I can't even remember what the event was together. And he said, oh, I can't, I'm working. And I just stopped and I looked and I said, why are we doing this? And he said, I don't know. I said, so let's stop. And he said, okay. That was it. Just that honesty of looking inside and saying, I don't want this anymore. This is no longer working. And he was relieved because it wasn't working for him either. And we are still friends. We are still, if he were to knock on my door, I would welcome him in. And I, divorce and disconnection doesn't have to be difficult. In fact, sometimes when it's really difficult, separation and divorce, it tells you that the feelings are still there. There's still work to be done. Because if you can be that angry and that distraught and that overwhelmed and that, vicious in some cases to someone else that you loved or you purported to love, what does that say about you? And I'm not, this is said without judgment. I'm asking you, what does that say about you? Perhaps it says you're not quite ready. Or perhaps it's triggered something that was deeper underlying or that you inherited. Trauma, we carry around all kinds of trauma that's not ours, in our DNA and in our family stories. And so, I faced the challenge of divorce twice. I've also faced betrayals, personal and in business, as I said. I navigated the loss of my parents. I also navigated within 9 months, the loss also of my father-in-law. So I got to look at death up close and personal. And it was a gift. It was an absolute gift because now I had the opportunity to figure out what my beliefs were about life and death. Why are we here? What are we doing? What's this all about? And I would not have taken the time or had the opportunity to dig into those thoughts and beliefs if I hadn't had the experiences. So I appreciate those challenges because, I believe we're on this planet to support each other. I believe that we're here to help each other reveal our blind spots. If we can make the changes that we want on our own, we would have by now, right? but instead it's beneficial to find others who can help us work through the challenges. And sometimes those are really, the people we like least can help us with our challenges. Or we can find somebody trusted that can also gently guide us through what it is that we need to know so that we can gain that peace of mind. We can feel empowered in ourselves, feel confident, and we can understand what it is we're here to do in this life, because life has tons to offer. We just get to, every life, we just a little slice, right? It's just a little slice, but it's our little slice. Anyway, went off on a tangent on that one. Is there another question? What is the most valuable lesson you ever learned? The most valuable lesson I've ever learned, and I'm still learning because it comes up every now and again, is that no one is an island. It doesn't matter how smart you are, how strong you are, how fast you are, how capable you are. You can't go it alone. In fact, my belief is that we should not go it alone. That we benefit from learning from others and learning to ask for what we really want in life. And then when we ask for what we want, we also need to believe it will come, that we can manifest or we can achieve what it is that we most want. So many of us, including me, have gone through life kind of in some ways visionless. We get buffered around like a piece of driftwood on the waves instead of being purposeful and setting our vision and intentionally asking for what it is that we want and need so that we're more likely to actually achieve it and to get it. Wow, these are great questions. What's the best piece of advice that I give to others? Well, everyone enjoys being acknowledged, to feel seen and heard. I believe the most important thing is to be acknowledged and accepted. In my world, that's the definition of love. To be acknowledged and accepted by yourself and others. And my advice is to stay open-minded, explore the ways that you can serve and support others, and most importantly, have the courage and the confidence to ask for what you need. Thank you, John. Hi, Marie. So good to see you here. Well, I want to thank you. The time is almost over for this show. I want to thank you for your questions. I trust this has been helpful. We never know when or who messages land for. And so I want to also offer you a gift. I created a quiz called Finding Fulfillment, the 3 biggest challenges and desires. So Rox, if you could put up that link for me, it's, and I'll read it out for, let me just copy and paste that so that we can, there we go. And I'll read it out. There we are. Lorraine.link, and it's /Finding Fulfillment Quiz. All together, no spaces. So it's Lorraine.link /Finding Fulfillment Quiz. And I want to thank you for being here today at the Edge of Fulfillment here on every Friday at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. We're broadcasting on the Women for Women Network Radio. That's W4WN.com and Talk for TV. You can reach me personally at support@Head Heart Synergy, and I love to answer your questions. And thank you for that, Sherry. That was very kind. And if you'd like to join other like-minded people in our Facebook group, it's called Mindfully Moving Forward. And you're welcome to join us there. I am your host, Lorraine LaPointe of Head Heart Synergy, reminding you that at the edge of fulfillment, there's always a choice. Stay on the edge, getting always what you've always got, or become just a little courageous, and we can move beyond the edge to get what we really want. Thank you. See you next week.